Let's get on to our next topic. Should there be a wealth tax on multi-millionaires? 020 7862 2222. This is a pledge of the new Green Party leader and friend of the show, Zack Polanski, because he's been in a couple of times. Yesterday, he was forced to defend his stance when pressed on it by Trevor Phillips of Sky News.
We also need to be taxing multi-millionaires and billionaires on their assets, 1% of £10 million or more, or 2% on assets of £1 billion or more. And if you're about to say, won't they just leave? Assets can't just pick up and leave. The Duke of Westminster owns half of Mayfair. We need to make sure that we have a fair taxation system in this country. Now, I'm not talking about people running a small business or people who are just trying to get by. I'm talking about people who are earning more money in their sleep, doing absolutely nothing, whilst for 99% of the population are working really hard. That's completely unfair. It doesn't have to be that way. And as the Green Party, we intend to change it.
Meanwhile, the TUC, which is the umbrella group for trade unions in the UK, will call for the Chancellor Rachel Reeves to include wealth taxes in her budget at their conference today. They say their polling indicates public support for a number of measures, including 2% annual wealth tax for people with assets worth more than 10 million. Such a measure would affect about 20,000 people in the UK and raise £24 billion a year, according to Tax Justice UK. I'm guessing you'll dispute that it would raise that money.
Yeah,
is that right?
It would. I mean, I think you've seen that with VAT on private schools. They thought that it would raise a lot more money than it did because people simply left the private sector, went into the state sector. He talked about the Duke of Westminster. Look, 50 years ago, most of the wealthy people, the top 100, top 1,000, were British citizens who were rooted in the country, people like the Duke of Westminster. Today, the Duke of Westminster isn't even the richest man in Britain.
He's probably not the richest man in Mayfair.
Yeah. I mean, there are a whole bunch of people who, frankly, whether we like it or not, will simply leave the country. And I'd much rather them stay here and pay whatever tax they're paying here in England or Britain than go off to Dubai or Monaco or wherever else, which is very easy for them to get to.
These disputed figures about millionaires leaving every 45 minutes and all that stuff suggest they are going.
It's a myth. Right, it has been busted. The reason for this report, it was commissioned, that report, that all these millionaires would leave by a company that actually acts in the interests of millionaires. The fact is, land, property, infrastructure owned by these millionaires and billionaires can't just pack a suitcase, head to Heathrow and leave. So this idea is ridiculous.
Right. They sell it.
And people always leave a foot. Even when they sell it, the numbers were based on like LinkedIn statuses, and it was so shaky.
They can get rid of they can shed their assets.
They sell the assets. And you look at London now, whether you like it or not, the top properties aren't selling.
Kwasi.
They're not selling at the value that they're
and maybe they need to come down in value.
Yeah, they will come down.
But are you genuinely saying, like, honestly, if you're a millionaire or a billionaire and you can't afford a 1% or 2%, then honestly, maybe try living within your means.
So they can afford it, but they're mobile people. They can live anywhere they want. In today, 2025. You can have Zoom calls.
They're generally quite immobile.
You can station yourself anywhere.
They're not locked, but surely
they're not locked into Britain.
But I'm going to question that because people with money tend to have. Well, they don't keep it under a mattress. They can't put it in a suitcase. So to some extent, it is locked, and they're like selling up because they lose money when they do that. And you've mentioned now you can't sell expensive flats in London at the price you want for them. So it's harder than you'd think for them to sell all their stuff and just leave the country with a suitcase.
Look at property prices in Milan, in Italy, where they have essentially a policy where you pay £200,000 a year, however wealthy you are.
Yeah.
And anecdotally, and I know this, people are buying up properties in Milan because it's a much better tax regime for them. The point I'm making...
They have to pay £200,000 a year.
That's it. But these are very, very wealthy people.
Oh, I see.
So they just pay that, and then that's they're done.
That's an amazing amount of money to be able to pay.
So my point is that today, in 2025, whether you say they're rooted to Britain, I'm saying that they're much more mobile than they ever were, these people. And you're going to get people who will leave the country, and also you're saying to other people who might want to invest in the country that we don't like you, we're going to tax you.
We're not saying that, Kwasi. Millionaires, their average wealth grows by 4 to 8% per year. This isn't, and by the way, this isn't like if you've done that well. Good luck, well done to you, right? But this isn't about, it's not about punishment, it's not about envy. This is about when your wealth has exploded, and we have seen that, and inequality is off the chart. This is about millionaires and billionaires who have profited from a system, paying back into it. And if they really cared about the country, why wouldn't they? Because if they're not, and they're going to just leave, is it really investment in the country?
It seems like what seems to happen is that a lot of these people have shares, obviously, and shares just have done really well.
They own property. I agree with you. There is more inequality, but the idea that you're going to solve that by putting in an asset tax
not about solving
on
inequality.
everything they own.
It's not about solving inequality.
They can leave.
It's not about solving inequality. It's about doing something, right? The economy has been vandalised, and I'm looking at you, Kwasi, right? It's about trying to raise funds and doing so in a way from people that will not feel it in the way that, say, trying to do it from the people that don't have the money would.
So whatever you think you're going to raise, I think it'll be a lot less. You're basically saying a signal to everyone in the world, Britain is not interested in
like
rich
Norway,
people.
like Norway.
People are leaving Norway.
Norway is one of the most egalitarian countries. They have got high net worth individuals. They've got high GDP. They have got a great welfare state. They have had a wealth tax for over a century.
I don't know if they do have high net worth. I'm not sure because I remember someone's in Denmark saying there's a big thing that if you get above your station,
Switzerland has got a wealth tax as well.
All right, Eileen in Lancashire, do you think it's time for a wealth tax?
Well, I have to manage a house on £14,521.32, but I have to pay £496.80 tax. And running a house and a car off just over 14 grand is extremely difficult. And what can I do to get money? My percentage that I'm losing with tax is great, but when you've got millions of pounds, paying tax on it is not a great percentage, is it?
Yeah, no, listen, I don't have a view on it. I don't know what the answer is. When one of the problems with a wealth tax is trying to work out how much wealth people have got. So, for example, some guy's got a painting in his living room. He'd been in his family for 100 years. You're going to have a look at it. You're going to have to go and value it. It might be worth 50 million quid. It might be worth 500 quid. He's going to say it's worth 500 quid. But you're going to have to go through people's front doors for this, Eileen. That's the only thing.
Oh, so that it's not just what money you've got. It's all your possessions as well.
It's everything you own. Because the trouble is, if it's just money, people will then move their money into things that don't count. So they buy jewellery or whatever. I don't know what the...
I didn't realise that.
But you know, I don't want to put you off this, but hang on, don't be put off, because in the end, Kwasi, it would be very easy for one of these billionaires to pay Eileen's tax and the tax of 1,000 other people when they wouldn't even blink.
You raise a very good point there about the assets, because you're taxing assets. And in France, they have this. I think they paid about 1.3%. And every October, they used to have to fill in an inventory of everything they owned. So if you had nice books or nice pictures or jewellery, you had to put that down, put a valuation and pay. So the bureaucracy of this is through the roof. And I'm not sure whether the Greens maybe have thought that through.
Yeah, but look, fundamentally the issue is this, though, and this should concern you. When I was growing up, there was one rich person in Cheam, Surrey, where I lived. We now have people who are so rich it makes your eyes water. We had 177 billionaires in London until recently. They started leaving. Something's gone wrong here. It's like the wealth has been caught by a small number of people. Mm-hmm. How do we deal with that?
So what I would want to do is incentivise more people to be entrepreneurs.
But isn't that what we've been doing and it's not worked for some reason?
So I think, and it's all to do with the tax system, that people in the middle get taxed disproportionately highly. And that's one of the issues that I was involved in trying to solve.
Right.
Not successfully.
The just about managing, or the upper middle class.
Yeah, and it's just the 40p rate, for example, kicks in. It came in 35 years ago, 40 years ago, and it was a much higher rate in proportion.
Nurses pay.
That's right. Yeah. There are too many people dragged into tax.
Okay, all right. Finley in Derbyshire. So I'm waving only because I just want to get on my call. Finley, hello.
Hi. Yeah, we need to tax assets. It's ridiculous. We're talking about the middle class is being taxed on failure. That's absolutely true. And the best solution to raise tax in the country is by taxing assets. There's not really much more I could say that Zack Polanski hasn't already said. And I just wonder why we have Kwasi Kwarteng on here giving his opinion on taxes when his and Liz Truss's tax plan crashed the economy.
Finley? He's a former Chancellor.
It's like me asking
Okay,
Boris
and
Johnson
he's
for
clearly not
childcare
very good at what
advice.
he did. He led to a really disastrous outcome.
Well, he can answer that. You know,
so we're going to have different views. I don't happen to agree with you. Let's talk about the issue at the hand. I think a wealth tax would be completely disastrous and drive away a lot of the wealth creators.
Okay,
you have a different view.
Finlay, why do you disagree with that?
They're going to run away. It's assets. What are they going to do with the assets? They're going to run away. The assets
and the asset values go down. You had this
conversation with the co-host. There's not really much more you can say you haven't already said. You're just dancing around the point. All you people with a load of money, you just dance around, you try and poke holes in it without actually just acknowledging this is what people want. The country's a mess. We need to tax assets.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Finlay. Later is the papers and everything else, including...